Hey, everybody, it's me, Jonathan Miller, the voice of the Veil, back with another Big Hype podcast brought to you by our great headline sponsors, Boxer, the Fight Network for all fighter tickets, etc. Great platform, wonderful people, go and check them out. Our other headline sponsor, MC Prestige Events, wonderful people, great people, want to do wonderful things for great events, mainly here in the UK, but hopefully more abroad as well soon. On our other sponsors, Prevost Boxing Gloves, protect yourself at all time whilst wearing Prevost, and We Prep UK, the UK's leading nutrition expert, delivering food across the nation. So, but ladies and gentlemen, joining me from his home in Rome, I can't believe I've wanted this one for a while. It is the one and only Graziano Jones.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Oh, Graziano.
Thank you for having me.
Mate, thank you very much for coming on the Big Hype podcast. We're doing this a little bit of prep for some big shows and big news events coming your way as well, I understand. So out there in Rome. But we're going to ask you the same question that I've asked pretty much everyone else. It's slightly varied because your sport is slightly different. But how and why did you get involved with mixed martial arts?
Well, I started off when I was a teenager, really, I was curious. I was, into movies, all that stuff. And there was bullying problems, but they were solved quite quickly. Like as soon as there was a minor confrontation, it all ended. Yeah, and then since then, I found out what, all this sport was about, UFC and all these fancy promotions, and I fell in love with it, really. And it's been my life ever since.
Did you deviate into any other combat sports as well, or was it kind of martial arts is kind of where you saw yourself, mixed martial arts is where you saw yourself go into?
Yeah, I've always done martial arts. I was never good at football. I was never good at, the usual sports that, you get to do when you go to school as a child and stuff, where your parents send you. I just always been a bit of a physical person. I was really always looking to how do you say, look for that type of confrontation, fighting, when it was play fighting or when it was, just any, even in football, really, whoever came close to me would get like a low kick and I didn't even know what it was, They'd get injured sometimes, and I'm a chill guy, but I was just never really good at team sport or sports that didn't include fighting for some reason. Yeah, I started with Kung Fu when I was like 9.
Yeah.
And, ever since I was just like, no, I want to fight. And then just found out about what this MMA game was about and, switched to that.
So when was your first MMA, when was the first time actually in a cage for MMA?
When was my first time? I was 17, and I got knocked out cold in like 30 seconds. As a matter of fact.
Some of the best fighters have always lost their debut and gone on to the best things afterwards. So it's the learning curve.
Yeah, it happens.
So you were 17 when that happened. Obviously, since then you've gone on. You've had a mixed bag of results, but you're predominantly a winner in martial arts. 10 combat wins. Mixed of submissions, five by submissions, I think, from my maths. 4 decisions and 1 TKO. How do you find, so you had a little gap as well, didn't you? You kind of started in 2019. Obviously, we had COVID.
Yeah.
How did you find COVID and training and everything else? How did you find that?
Okay, actually, this is, it's interesting because I had that debut fight official at 17, in the end of 2019. Then I was having like problems, so I changed gyms and stuff, and COVID happened, but I really believe in that time span. I was actually like reborn because I was, in a tough spot a little bit with life. When I got home, when there was COVID and it was locked down, I just, found myself alone training all day basically, and that wasn't happening in a while. So yeah, basically I gained weight before COVID and I managed to lose it all, with COVID. So to me, the lockdown wasn't really a obstacle. It was more like me regrouping and, getting ready to deal with this life,
I like lockdown, and I shouldn't say this, but I actually really enjoyed the lockdown situation.
Yeah, we shouldn't say that, but
I know, because actually I was out walking. I was out doing 2 hours worth of walking, 5,
Yeah.
6 miles a day, and the weight came off me and I was really
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh, now
Yeah,
you gotta go
exactly,
back to the
yeah.
office." I was going, "I don't really want to
Yeah.
go back to the office." I was like, I know, it's like, COVID, but I know, but can't I just carry on doing what I was doing
Yeah,
before? The work
exactly.
was done. The boss wasn't
Yeah,
happy. Your boss was happy.
yeah.
I was like, work's done.
Yeah,
Can
it
we
was
not just,
working, yeah.
yeah, working. So COVID was good for you in that respect, obviously getting you back in the thing. You went on a bit of a run there, then with a couple of, with about a streak of about 6 wins, I think 6, 7 wins.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is,
yeah.
which is what
So,
the kids do.
yeah, that's funny as well because when I restarted doing MMA, I had no team. Not many people know about this really. When I was uh, out of COVID, we could only do like wrestling matches because
Right.
it was the first thing they legalized in Italy at least. So I went to do these like couple, and they didn't go well at all. Like one, I like cracked my head open, and the second one, my shoulder came out. Yeah, yeah, nice. Yeah, basically after the shoulder injury, I was in a bit of a down again, and my life changed a lot in that period of time. Uh, so I had to lay off my sport and slowly grab myself back, going back to doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu, going back to doing kickboxing. And I have this dear friend from Manchester called Andy Devent, who basically was starting his first promotion, the first edition of this new promotion he had called Sparta Fight Nights. And I just said, "Do you have space for a welterweight?" And they said, "Sure, yeah, I'll match you up. I'll match you up." So my camp began, from an injury, and I taught a friend of mine how to hold pads, and I'd go to jiu-jitsu. That was my camp for this return fight.
If it
Yeah,
works, it works, Let's not knock
yeah,
it. If
yeah,
it
yeah.
works, it works,
And that was my first win ever. I just, I just found myself there, and I was about to do the walkout, and I was just like, "What the hell am I gonna do now? What the hell have you done?" Like this was on loads of levels. It was wrong. This camp I did, and I don't recommend anyone to do that. So yes, I just found myself there, and I, rushed it, and I found my game plan worked, and that's how the first win began. And then I lost one fight, and then yeah, I went on that 7, I think it was, win streak.
I think we got 1, 2. I think I've counted 6 wins. There were a couple of cancelled fights and stuff in there. You made your
Yeah,
Cage Warrior Academy debut in that as
I did.
well. So you started picking up some notoriety, and then we went on the road a little bit after that. Into
Yeah,
24, you went on the road, come over to UK.
yeah,
I worked on a
yeah.
great
That
show, one
was
show I used to work on a lot, which was
yeah, yeah,
FCC. And
yeah.
also Kingdom. Didn't realize you fought on
Indeed,
Kingdom
yeah.
as well until I looked into it.
I
I've announced it one fight night for Kingdom. A
Oh,
great
really
show
did, yeah.
again in the Liverpool
Wow.
area. Yeah, lovely, great guys as well. They're all the people involved in MMA is great anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Mostly,
so
yeah.
unfortunately those 2 fights didn't go your way.
No, no. Yeah, then I was in a pickle at the time, and mentally it was harsh because all the wins I had up until that FCC fight, or at least the last 4, were I was solo. I was because I had problems with teams, and I was training by myself basically. I'd call people to come and train with me, and I just decided I was the manager of my own camp. So yeah, in Italy, I was confident, and I'd win. But then I found myself in this, at a certain point, I found myself announced in this 5 round FCC welterweight title.
Yeah,
And that
because it
was
was main
like,
event, wasn't it? It was the main event of the
yeah, it
night.
was
So
main event, yeah. And I was in a great spot before that. But still, I think mentally, if you do, this sport is individual, but it's not really, you need a team, you need someone solid, and you need to feel that, how do you say, to have someone to confront yourself with, and then that it got solved not after that loss, but after the Kingdom, the second loss I got with my coach Carlo, and yeah, so
back
and
to
then
the
we had
drawing board
one
then. So
good
yeah,
title win in Italy again, and then I won finally a fight in the UK abroad.
yeah, which was Kingdom 8.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Stuff happens. I went on a 2 losing streak again, and finally I'm out of that. Yeah. So I thought, I realized last year how much this game is completely mental, about mental strength and mental toughness.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. Okay. I know you've realised as well that the people around you, the most important part of this as well is, it's that you're grouping your people, and when you're with your people, you're in the right place and you're in the right frame of mind to deal
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
what's coming up in front of you. That's fantastic.
yeah, yeah.
Your style, I mean, you're again quite sort of heavy in regards to grappling. Most of your wins have come by submission. So do you go looking for the submission? Is that the game plan when you've looked now back over your career? Is it sort of has the pattern changed? Has your game plan changed? What is your normal sort of, without giving too much away? Obviously, your opponents might watch this.
Yeah, no, they can watch.
Rear naked choke finishes or guillotine was the last one as well. Are you looking for those sort of things, or are you looking for something else? What's your forte when it comes to that?
Okay, so it's no secret I like to wrestle. It's no secret I like to grapple. And people tend to think I do not strike at all, because of that. But, even in my last fight, I did lose, but that was a solid kickboxer, and, he was looking to wrestle me.
He wouldn't let
Basically,
you in. He wouldn't let you in. To be
yeah, yeah, he
honest,
was
with you,
trying.
he kept you out. He kept you out and kept you at range. That fight
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, no, basically because my style is, yeah, I like to wrestle, but I also like jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is going with the flow. So yeah, so whatever the opponent gives to me, I will take. I will try and do damage, and I do look for submissions, yeah. But I've noticed that the times when I just let the opponent, make his mistake, the submission, you know, came out with more simplicity. While the couple times I went to like desperately look for a submission, it went, wrong. Well, not wrong. Well, I mean, just didn't happen. But when I was like damage, the opponent will give you something. Yeah, that's what I've noticed. The rear naked chokes were mostly like the opponent turning and me just flowing in, putting the hooks in and everything.
just getting into
I
the
think like
right place at the right time sort of
yeah, yeah,
situation.
yeah. Yeah, like just one guy I was slugging out, like, I was really onto him and I was on his back already, but a couple just like literally turned during the scramble, and I just saw the opportunity and seized it. So yeah,
I suppose
yeah, I don't go hard with looking for submissions, but I will take it if I find one.
Yeah, sorry, it's not. So right, okay. Just so I understand, I know you like to wrestle, and I mean, you like to take it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the mat wherever possible, like you said. From watching you, and I've watched you twice live, should we say? I've watched a
yeah,
couple of the videos as well and stuff. So I mean, it does seem to me that that's what you look for. But again, like you said, those opportunities came from the turn of turn of your opponent, and you were able to maximize those things. Going back to your team now, you're training out of Black Lotus Dojo.
yes.
Again, are you finding the people that you like to think? Is there anything that your coaches are saying to you for what you need to train on? I know coming out of those 2 losses as well. One was to a Dutch submission, and the other one I think an Anaconda. I'm
It
not
was,
sure,
yeah, an
but
anaconda and
again,
a TKO. Ah, no,
a
wait, sorry.
TKO.
I was
Sorry,
thinking of last year. Sorry. Yeah, the last two
TKO
were a
last year.
decision and
Yeah.
anaconda.
Do you train for something different then? Do you look for something, your coach is saying to you, okay, well, let's look at what's, I don't know, you tell me what's your session look like? Your training regime, what does that look like?
Yeah. Well, I think that when it comes to me, of course, there is always lots and lots to learn, but mostly when I show up to a fight, it's mainly confidence comes from leaving no stone unturned in camp. Like, have I done this? Have I did this run? Have I, you know, sparred these particular rounds? Yeah, of course, when I did mess up on some things, I would
Mm,
work on them, but it's mostly about, showing up and doing the things I have to do as much as I say I have to do them, and as much as my coaches say. Like, for a while I was, when I did my Cage Warriors Academy debut, I had no one in that camp, with me. Like there would be like this one guy would come and spar, this other one would hold pads, and but I was there till 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. in the gym, working and working and working, and I had too much energy in that fight to lose. So yeah, so when there's nothing, on my day, when there's nothing in the way, that's when fights go well. It's said like this just means, obviously not all camps will go well. All,
Not everything runs to runs to the
life
plan.
just gets in the way. Yeah, yeah, life just
Yeah.
gets in the way. And I've learned last year how to, I've seen the worst last year out of my career that hasn't, looking to go professional. I have seen the worst now. I think I've been in,
Okay.
too many events abroad and, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I was going to ask you? What's
yeah.
the game plan then? Where are we going with this? Obviously, you've just mentioned pro. Is that the next step for you? Is that the next step? Are we going to stick with the Italian promotions? I know Shock FC have just announced another
No,
show as well. Will be announcing
I,
another show. Uh,
yeah,
but just
yeah, yeah,
announced it.
yeah, yeah.
So
Noise. I was looking to end the amateur career now with the last one you saw. But clearly there was things to work on.
mhm.
And I wouldn't say on a physical level, I wouldn't say it was just, some stuff to work on, that got in the way of that camp. And I just, every camp is a learning opportunity to see how, I react to stuff. But anyway, yeah, so this is hopefully the last one or couple of amateur fights. I was trying to get back on Kingdom because I wanted a
Okay.
rematch with the last guy who beat me.
Yeah.
But let's see. Let's see. I don't think it's convenient maybe to accept from many point of views, but it was just something I wanted to correct for myself. But if it doesn't happen, I'll just move on like I always do.
I was going to say sometimes you can't get the opportunity to
Yeah, of course.
rematch, and for whatever reasons, they may have moved into a different position or turned pro or retired, and things like this happen, and matches look great on paper, and then they all fall apart in the
Yeah,
negotiation and the discussion. So these things happen. Unfortunately, that is the promoters' world.
yeah.
I take my hat off to anyone to be a promoter as well, just for the record. Sometimes, fight when you got fights blade, you
Yeah,
think, oh, that's going to be an awesome fight, and then someone gets a little, an injury or whatever. Or
yeah, yeah,
sometimes opportunities go for them, and they get an invitation to go to
yeah,
a
yeah. Happen.
championship bout or something like that, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think, these things happen. So yeah, don't envy the job of being a promoter at all.
yeah.
So okay, so looking pro, looking to go on the road. Are you signed with anyone at the moment? Are you under management? Are you sort of looking at that sort of aspect as well, or are you just going to sort of try and do that and guide it yourself?
Well, I've only spoken about it with my coach Carlo. And my
Hmm.
management is Iron Lions, Filippo Leone. No, we haven't spoke yet. It was just, I've had so this is the first big announcement. But anyway, yeah, I've had, a long run. I've had like, about nearly 20 fights. There's another two wins actually that aren't official on Topology, but so I am 12-7. The sixth streak was actually, 8.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so I have been, through a lot. There's still a lot to come, I'm sure. I know there's a lot to come. But yeah, that's what my life has been about for the last 9 years of my life. 10 years. So, yeah, so we were just saying with my coach, so is this the last one? He just told me last time. So let's see how it goes, how you are mentally and how you are, physically, and then the next one will be pro. But yeah,
That
that's
sounds.
there was just a few little things that I'd say I need to prove myself with the next one, and then I think we'll be much more open to that discussion.
And how do you find, obviously, the training side of it? Are you working as well? Have you got a day job? I know a lot of fighters have day jobs that they can't train fully, even when you turn
Yeah,
professional. Still.
Yeah,
You can't do that.
I
So
used
what do
to.
you do outside of what do you do outside of MMA?
Well, up until 3 months ago, I was a cleaner in a hospital, and it's been hard to balance, with getting up at 4 and working up until 1 p.m. and then going to the gym and giving private lessons to people. So that's been a bit, hard. And about, a month before my last fight, I, left that job because it just wasn't for me. And, I'm seeing all these like, professionals and cage warriors or even UFC who are like my age or younger. And I just looked at myself with these gloves in my hands and I said, me these like, latex gloves. And I thought, what the hell am I doing here? I should be right now in the gym. And that's, pretty much why now I left my job and I'm just, fully into the sport again. But yeah, what I earn is from the gym now, basically. I teach people, I give classes if I have to.
So
Yeah, so that's,
it is shift. It is a big shift. Then you've
yeah,
you've taken that run. And a lot of people sort of say, if you back yourself, and as you seem to be doing now, you're backing yourself. You're going all in on this. You've
yeah.
got skin in the game in that capacity as well. So, well, we know what the future holds. We know obviously it's going to be one more. Then we're looking at pro, and then who knows where the world's going to go. Is there a particular place you'd like to see yourself in the future? Are you going to be looking at the UFC? Are you going to be looking at, uh, PFL or Bellator, whatever they're going to rename themselves or whatever?
Yeah.
Again, they might change their name
Well,
back to Bellator.
of course.
Is there other? Is there something else? Is there another? What would you like to see? Where would you like to see yourself go, Graziano?
Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was looking to the UFC. But I'll take it one step at a time, and I'll just say I just want to go pro now. I just want to enjoy these camps and um, get into it, and I'd love to have my professional debut on Shock FC. That would be lovely. My teammates promotion, and start from there. Hopefully next year. Now we'll be speaking of my fourth or something. Maybe on a Cage Warriors Rome card. Well, the
Well,
road is so long.
we're
Road is.
having
I
a
think
big.
the journey will.
Go on.
Uh, the
I
journey
was
will
just
be
going to
so
say,
long. I think.
you've got a plethora of places you could go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cage Warriors obviously is another big player in
That
this
would be.
capacity as well.
Yeah, that would be good because now it's starting out in Italy, and that would be a good opportunity. But as I was saying, the journey is like so long. I think that to say where do I want to go is like let's just think one step at a time. Of course, I have my objectives and my dreams. I'll never deny that, but still, it's a long journey. So just
And
professional, then we'll see.
it's professional. It is tough. It's tough, and who knows where it goes. Is there a particular belt you'd like to? Is there a particular accolade you'd like to have associated to you? Were you welter or middle? I
Welterweight,
forget.
yeah, yeah.
You're welter.
Welterweight, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so welterweight champion of Cage Warriors or
Yeah, that would
UFC
be.
or
Yeah, yeah, of course.
yeah.
It's yeah, that would be
Put you on the
nice.
spot there. Put you on the spot with that
Yeah,
one.
no, it's okay.
I didn't mean to upset you.
No, no, you didn't upset me at all. No, no, I was just thinking. No, no. What I was thinking was I would have liked to, ended my career as FCC welterweight champion in Kingdom, but
Okay.
didn't go my
Okay.
way. But still, I think that will be. I've noticed, how I've been through that now. I think that will be good for me in the future because I've seen what it's like to go abroad and have everyone against you pretty much, and to be, face that kind of humiliation. So yeah, the dream would be to do that in a bigger promotion, of course, main event and wherever. Obviously, the dream would be for a UFC welterweight title, but I don't think that's my spot at all to speak of because I'm not even in the in that
Yeah, but
spectrum yet.
you're only young. You're what, you 20, 24, 25?
I'm 24. Yeah, yeah,
24, yeah. I mean, there's still,
yeah, yeah,
10 years, 10 years of most people's sort of
yeah,
MMA
yeah, yeah.
career, so, maybe even more, who knows, so yeah. What was I going to say? I've forgotten what I was going to ask you. There was one thing I was going to ask you, but okay, we've kind of got to where we got to anyway. And I think obviously, yeah, if turning pro on Shock, and then perhaps back over the water here to the UK, FCC. There's another great promotion over in Greece. There's a couple of, obviously, all over the UK, all over the Europe as well. There's Sweden, and obviously a couple of others that I spot with colleagues of mine that are on those shows, and some of those shows look absolutely fantastic shows to be on, and, and the combat sports stuff as well. So I think perhaps management needs to go and say, well, let's have a look here, let's go here, let's have a look and see what's around, and opportunities will come. And I'm sure that, if Cage Warriors or Kingdom or FCC watch this, perhaps they'll go, do you know what? Actually, he was damn good then. Let's put him. Let's have that rematch. Let's do that. Let's give him a championship shot. So let's see where it goes. Graziano, thank you so much for coming on the Big Hype Podcast. I've learned a lot about you tonight, and I think the future is bright for you. You seem to be in a really good place with everything beyond the cage as well as inside the cage as well. So the Dolce Vita life is very good at the moment for you. So I think we'll come to our final round. Are you ready for your final round?
Of course, always ready.
Graziano Jones, seconds out, final round. Here we go. Southpaw or orthodox?
Orthodox.
Okay. Body shots or head shots?
Body shots.
Body shots or head shots?
Body shots.
Okay. Solo training? Solo training or partners with rounds?
Partner with rounds.
Partner with rounds. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Okay. Heavy bag or a speed bag or a grapple bag?
A grapple bag.
Okay. Underdog or favorite?
What, sorry?
Underdog or favorite? Inside the gym or outdoors?
Amongst the trees.
Short and powerful or long and technical game?
Short and powerful.
Fight dirty or fight clean?
Fight clean.
Loud crowd, quiet atmosphere?
Loud crowd.
The quick knockout or a strategic win?
What, sorry?
Quick knockout or strategic win?
Strategic win.
And again, this is actually a boxing fight, and I probably should rechange this one, but the boxing question is the last one. Obviously, this fight may never happen for British boxers and for British boxers around the world, fans of boxing. AJ or Fury?
AJ, I think.
Okay. Graziano, there's no right and there's no wrong here. Graziano, how do people get in contact with you? How do they follow your journey?
You can follow me on my Instagram. It's Graziano77190. That's where I publish all my content about. There's going to be a few things coming out soon about how I promote myself with nutrition and as a coach, and info on my next fight. So that's where most of my stuff comes out.
Hopefully, I'll be around and be able to watch that in live as well. Let's hope.
Of course, yeah.
Let's hope the team works out with it, and I'm out in Rome again for that one as well. If that's in Rome, who knows? It may not be in Rome.
Hopefully.
We don't know yet. We don't know. The mystery continues. Graziano, thanks so much for coming on the Big Hype Podcast again. I wish you every success going forward and look forward to seeing your journey as you progress as
Thank you so much for having me, my friend.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
This has been a Big Hype production, edited and produced by Jonathan Millard, assisted by Riverside FM and distributed by Buzzsprout, available on all good podcast platforms. For more information, visit www.bighypepodcast.co.uk.